No! No! Maybe if we turned it down a little bit. Hey everybody, I'm Psychroclasm, and this is The Babysitter. I'll tell you, I don't know much about it, but I do know that it's a horror visual novel and that the ending is roughly the same no matter what choices you make, but the choices you make change the way the third act plays out. And I know that because that's like the first comment on the Itch.io page. Babysitter needed. Urgent. Childminder required tomorrow evening for our 11-year-old daughter, Westfield Groves. Reference checks will be conducted. Oh, so I'm the babysitter. Okay, I thought this was going to be one of those situations where the babysitter was evil. Okay, it's going to be an evil child, which is just so much more intensely scary. One day later. This neighborhood, Whitefield Groves, is on the outskirts of town. This house appears to be one among a cluster of postmodern structures, each set far apart from the other for privacy. Whitefield Groves is one of the more exclusive neighborhoods in the district, although it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. The neighborhood was built during the real estate boom 2 decades ago. The woman who called you back after you sent in your application, a Mrs. Raj, asked you a lot of questions about your background and your qualifications. She seemed pretty finicky. Also, she wanted to know if you've ever seen or performed an exorcism. Since you're registered as a childminder sitter with the rather elite Guardian Angel childcare agency for the last 3 years and you've got good references, you were pretty confident you'd get the gig. Pays well, too. It's just about 7, and it's already fully dark. The house seems quiet. Mrs. Raj asked you to be here by 7:30, and had been particular that you be on time. Sure is a nice place. A lounge area that opens out to a well-maintained lawn and pool, although at this hour it does seem a little foreboding. From what you understand, Mr. Raj, the father of the child you're going to mind, is an accomplished doctor, a general surgeon who works at nearby NHU hospital. Mrs. Raj didn't tell you much other than that she and Dr. Raj were going out for the evening and she didn't want their daughter home alone. The fact that the girl is 11 and requires a sitter indicates there may be some issues here. Or it could just be that the child doesn't like being alone at home after dark. That's normal. Mrs. Raj sounded like a very exacting kind of parent, the kind who's very mindful of every aspect of her child's care. You can't blame her, really. These days, most parents, and particularly the rich ones, pay a lot of attention to their children's upbringing, sometimes even suffocatingly so. It's the nature of our times. The news is filled with horrific stories of children going astray, predators, their vulnerable victims. It pays to be vigilant. Well, you're here. You're about half an hour early, which you hope isn't too early for them. You better ring the doorbell to let them know you're here. Hang on. Oh, it actually does interact. It actually does interact. I thought this was just going to be a click, click, click visual novel. Okay. Ah, yes, of course. You must be the babysitter. I'm Dr. Raj. My wife told me you'd be here. You're early. That's great. Do come in. He steps aside as you walk into the house. It's a spacious lounge area. It overlooks the lawn and the pool through the tinted black windows on your left. The floor underfoot is real wood, and the furniture looks like it cost a fortune. So glad we found you on such short notice. Shreya, that's my wife, was really worried that we weren't going to be able to get a sitter on time. You see, I got an invitation to speak at a late evening segment of a medical convention just 2 days ago, so this whole situation came out of nowhere. Shreya is very particular about those who we leave in the care of Maya, our daughter. Shreya was ready to forego attending the event if we didn't find someone she approved of. We had a bit of a bad experience with our last sitter, so Shreya was pretty concerned. She's very cautious when it comes to Maya. You sense a mild apology in his tone. It's alright, it's important to be diligent when it comes to such matters. It's very true. I can see why you gained her confidence. I'll go and tell her you're here. She's just getting ready. I'll grab my coat, we'll head out to the car, and we'll see you next when we're back. It was a pleasure meeting you. Do make yourself comfortable. Shreya will be out in a second. Dr. Raj leaves you and you wait for Mrs. Raj, who he referred to as Shreya. He seems pleasant if a little absent, and kind of a rather stark difference to Mrs. Raj, who sounded formal and humorless on the call. Must be really pleasant here during the day, the glass doors on your left letting in a lot of natural light, but now at night the windows look out into darkness and the trees bordering the lawn throw deep shadows. It's quite understandable now why they wouldn't want their child to spend an evening alone. The house is large and isolated from its neighbors. The neighborhood itself is rather lonesome. Children with their active, healthy imaginations can easily get distressed on a night like this, thinking, bleh! Children with their active, healthy imaginations can get easily distressed at night in such an environment, every creak and every night sound taking on sinister undertones. Hello there, we'd spoken on the phone. Thank you for being early, I appreciate that. As Dev, my husband, might have told you, we're attending the annual KMC Medical Convention, and he's one of the keynote speakers for the evening. The organizers just called us a few minutes ago and told us that the traffic around the convention center is a nightmare and that we should start out early if we want to get there on time. So now we have to leave a half hour earlier. The organizers seem so, well, disorganized. Her tone is clipped. She's clearly a woman who doesn't like it when plans go awry or situations get unpredictable. I feel that. I'm really glad we were able to find a sitter on such short notice. I know Maya seems quite old to be needing a sitter, but I try to avoid leaving our daughter home alone if possible. I don't want to talk shit about her house. Yeah, children can require supervision even at that age. I suppose so, but Maya's actually quite independent. It's just that she's going through a difficult time right now. Puberty. I want to know more about her child to care for her better. How so? Well, we recently moved here from another state about 6 months ago. Dev got an offer to be the director at the NHU hospital. We wanted to stay together as a family, so we packed up and shifted our lives. How far away? You moved from another state, and it was just like, well, I guess we want to be together as a family. It was a rather abrupt change for Maya. You know, leaving her old friends, her old life, the home she grew up in. She's taken it a little hard. She hasn't made any friends at her new school. She spends a lot of time alone. Dev feels guilty about it because we moved for his work, but the directorship at the NHU hospital is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It was only right for him to accept it. Maya's behavior doesn't make it easier on him, though. Couple that with her overactive imagination, and it can get a little stressful. Ooh, what kind of behavior are we talking about? Understanding or better care? Better care. What kind of a behavior are we talking about? Well, it's nothing serious, really. Don't misunderstand me. Maya's a wonderful child. In fact, she's very bright for her age, which may be part of the problem. She's thoughtful, she reads beyond her years, and she's surprisingly mature for her age. It's just that she still hasn't come to terms with the move. And unfortunately, she's expressing her distress in a rather disconcerting way. Tell me more. Well, she's struggling with a lot of emotions. She's turning 12, so she's on the cusp of her teenage years. She's in a new school, and you know how difficult school can be at that age. Hormones, boys, all the rest of it. Dev and I are just busy for much of the day, and we try to talk to her about her feelings whenever we can, but it just hasn't been going well. The problem is she refuses to speak plainly about her feelings. Instead, she makes up outlandish stories and lets her imagination run amok, and she tries to draw us into her morbid make-believe tales. Counselor says it's just a coping mechanism, a kind of stress response adopted by bright children. Possibly a way to get attention. Maybe it's a way of telling us she wants to leave and go back to her old life. What's troubling is that she's never been this way before. She's normally not an attention-seeking child. Anything I should be careful about? Any triggers I should avoid talking about or doing? Well, not really. Like I said, she's perfectly normal, not really a difficult child. She can be moody at times, that's all, and she might, if you probe, well, try to scare you with some of her stories about the house, for example. I'm sure I can handle being told stories. I think confidence is the right approach here. I'm sure you can, just silly juvenile stuff, the kind kids tell each other when they gather around the campfire and try to scare each other, I guess. She may have overheard something about this house and she's latched onto it and blown it out of proportion and created an entire fiction around it. The trouble is how morbid and disturbing her imagination can be. I think this is too flippant. About this house? Yeah, I'd rather not go into it. It's all nonsense anyway, and besides, that's exactly what she wants, for us to get drawn into the hysteria. In any case, her counselor told us not to engage or react, so if she does try anything, please be patient. Be firm, but gentle. What Maya needs now is a little sanity. So about tonight, she's already eaten dinner, her bedtime's at 9, which is just 2 hours away. The time should pass quickly. There's snacks in the kitchen should you need it. She pauses and appears to be searching for words. I know I may have come across a bit severe when we spoke earlier on the phone. I have to be careful about who I choose to care for Maya. She's having a hard time as it is. That's okay, I'd have done the same if it were my daughter. Thank you. I'll ask Maya to come in now so you can meet her. You hear voices approach. Shreya and that of a young girl's. They're speaking low, but you sense tension and conflict in their voices. The child's tone is brusque and irate, while Shreya's tone is stern. This is Maya. Say hi, Maya. Can I tell Maya that I like her shirt? Maya? Hi? Oh, sorry. Hi. Her voice is so low you can barely hear it. I was just telling Maya that we were only away for about 3 to 4 hours and that she has to go to bed no later than 9. She'll cooperate. Isn't that right, Maya? You sense a warning in her tone. Maya? Yes. That mumbled reply again. It's great to meet you, Maya. I'm not going to tell her she's got to be in bed by 9. I'm just going to try and stay on this kid's good side. Right, we got to be off. If there's anything, please call. Thanks, I'll call if there are any issues. Goodbye. I think that was the correct way to do it. I don't think any of those decisions would have had an effect on the story, but I think I made the right decisions in being responsible, but confident. Mr. and Mrs. Raj have left. An awkward silence descends as Maya stares at you with a diffident gaze. There's about an hour and 30 minutes to go before her bedtime. So... God, at 11, like... I don't think I'd want to, like, play games with my babysitter. God, but engaging confidently probably won't work either. I'm just gonna go, so... She did mention reading. And she doesn't like talking, obviously, so I think I'm gonna go with the first one. No thanks. Cool! That awkward silence again. You shouldn't have come. You shouldn't have taken this job. You should leave. Ooh. Not going to do the polite thing. Let's see. Alright, let's get right into the stories. Ooh, she's probably going to notice being fake, though. Why should I leave? Because you're not safe here. Go while you can. Your parents asked me to watch you. I can't leave just yet. Somehow I knew you'd say that. You should be more worried about you, not me. Yeah, let's redirect. Because she did say don't engage. Maya, how about something pleasant? What are your hobbies? I don't really want to talk. I'll go to my room now. Will you be okay by yourself? Do you want to hang out by... Okay. I'm old enough to take care of myself, you know. I told them not to get a sitter. It's not safe. You think you're not safe with me? That's not what she's saying. I'm sure you can take care of yourself, but your parents just wanted me to make sure you're okay. My parents don't really care about me. If they did, they'd listen to me. They don't. Anyway, it means it's not safe for you. For me? Yes, I told you already, you're in danger here. I just want you to leave before something happens to you. Feels like you're going in circles with her. Why don't you tell me exactly what I'm in danger from? I can't. I know what happens if I do. You'll think I'm crazy. You'll laugh or patronize me. Anyway, at least I tried. I'm heading up to my room. I don't think either of these are good questions. Or good answers. It's not bedtime yet. I know. I'm not gonna sleep. I'm gonna read. I asked you if you wanted to read. Maybe write journal for a while. Don't worry. I'm not gonna burn the house down or anything. Just... Look, if you're not gonna leave, then just... Whatever you do, don't go near the basement, okay? No matter what you hear, don't go near it. Please. Okay, bye. She leaves you standing alone. Ouch, that didn't go well. It's just like Miss Raj said, Maya's definitely a troubled child. No sooner had she left than she began to try and make the situation uncomfortable. You just gotta ride it out. If she spends the evening upstairs, things should be fine. You can hang out here in the lounge and pass the time until the parents get back. Should be easy to do. Still, the conversation with Maya has left a bad taste in your mouth. She definitely seems like a bright young girl. It's a pity she's struggling with the pains of the changes in her life. But growth only ever comes from change, and that's something she'll learn over time. You decide to wait it out on one of the comfortable couches and stare out into the blackness. Sure is as comfortable as it looks. You practically sink into the plush leather. And then I fell asleep. Okay, nope, 10 minutes. So we're down to an hour and 20 minutes till 9. Ooh, that was pretty cool. What was that? It came from this floor somewhere. It sounded like a door opening. Did Maya come back? I think I fell asleep. Hey, Maya? You call out, but there's no response. Earlier, you heard her go upstairs, but you didn't hear her come back. The sound came from near that staircase over there. You distinctly heard the creak of a door opening. This had better not be Maya playing around. Is this what Mrs. Raj meant when she talked about Maya's behavior? There are 3 doors here. The door to your left, the door to the right of the stairs, and there appears to be a door behind the stairs, under it. The staircase led up to another floor, presumably where the bedrooms are. That sound you heard, that creak of a door opening, came from one of these doors. You're sure of it. Call out to Maya. You raise your voice and call her name, but there's no response. You better check the doors. Or I could go upstairs where Maya is. Check the door on the left. Appears to be shut. You should try the door to make sure. Click the door to try it. Okay, it's locked. Cool. Let me guess, it's the one under the stairs. Dun, dun, dun. The door is ajar. This must have been the sound you heard. Through the gap in the doorway, you see only darkness. And then we closed the door, yes? The fuck? What are you doing? I told you to stay away from the basement. I don't want to accuse her. Jeez, you scared the hell out of me. I told you to stay away from the basement. Why don't you listen? Why doesn't anyone listen? Maya, what's going on? You don't gain anything by doing this. What's that supposed to mean? Are you accusing me of something? I didn't have any other options. I'm not doing anything. You came down here and opened that door, didn't you? What? I just came downstairs now. I heard you calling me and I came down to see why. I saw you near the basement door even though I told you not to go near it no matter what you hear. So who opened the door? It wasn't me, okay, if that's what you're saying. You know what? You're all the same. All of you think I'm lying, even my counselor. I bet Ma told you I'm making up stories. She tells that to everyone, even total strangers. But I'm not making up stories. Bet she didn't tell you that the real estate lady told us about this house. Maya, what's really going on? If I tell you, you'll just call me a liar and you'll accuse me of stuff I didn't do. So I'm not going to tell you anything. Do whatever you like, but for your own sake, stay away from the basement no matter what you hear. It looks like I'm not going to have an option. What did the real estate agent tell you about the house? Awesome. This is not going well. You're just going to have to ride this out somehow until her parents get home. This is definitely getting uncomfortable. No wonder Mrs. Raj is stressed out about the girl. Children express stress in varied ways. They create invisible playmates or compulsively invent intricate fantasies, usually morbid, that cushion them from difficult realities. You've seen this in children who are going through traumatic changes in their lives, and then you try to take their comforting alternate realities. They lash out. The poor girl. You better close the door. Not that you're overly alarmed about what Maya said, but the side of the door is a bit creepy. And then we put something in front of it. Okay, whatever. Back to the comfortable sofa, staring out into the darkness. You'll sit tight till her parents get home. 10 minutes later. Oh. Really? Again? Come on, this isn't funny anymore. Why would you... Ask Maya to stop it. Oh, I don't like that. The hell is that? Is someone crying? It's coming over from over there near the stairs. Maya, are you okay? There's no response. It's coming from the door behind the stairs. Maya. Still no response. This is really aggravating. The sound of the weeping is troublesome. The door's open again. The crying is escaping from the pitch darkness beyond it. There's no way you're going to open that door. Maya may be in there, ready to spring out and scare you, and you're not up for being jump scared. You don't really want to die of a heart attack on a babysitting gig. That's not what you signed up for. You better shut the door. Whew, the crying stopped. Why don't we just go hang out with Maya? You gotta put a stop to this now or she'll keep doing it all night, and by the time her parents are back, you'll have died of fright. It's probably a good idea to talk to her. Confront her. I thought comfort her. You could wait right here till she comes out of the basement. She can't stay down there forever, or you could go upstairs and wait there. When she sneaks back up, you can catch her in the act and then talk to her openly about what she's doing and why it's not going to help the situation. Please, head upstairs. Mrs. Raj told you to be gentle but firm. It's time to focus on the firm a little and talk directly and firmly to her and ask her about what's bothering her. Maybe what she needs is a direct talk. Sometimes the best way to address something with children is to get to the heart of the problem. She might open up and that would make things easier for her. And there are 3 doors on this side of the hallway. One of those is probably her room. Maybe you could wait inside her room for her to get back. That would startle her. Even be kind of a gentle prank right back at her. Sometimes the best way to get a child to listen is to give them a taste of their own medicine. You should probably open the doors and try to find out which one is her room. If I had to guess, it'd be this one. Locked. Locked. Okay, it was literally the last one I chose. This must be it. It's a pretty nice room. She's not here. Of course she isn't. She's downstairs, crouched in the basement, perhaps getting ready to make some awful sounds again. Still, you feel a little guilty about being in here. It's her bedroom, after all, and it's therefore kind of private. If she doesn't show up in a couple of minutes, you'll leave. Still, it'd be good to startle her a little, illustrate what it's like to get jump scared by someone. Pretty neat desk for a 11-year-old. Must be where she spends her time studying reading. There's an open book on the table. Something about that book draws your attention. It's filled with urgent handwritten text. Curiosity grips you. You really shouldn't be in here in this room, let alone looking at her desk, but something about the writing, it's manic scrawl. Writing is dated a couple of weeks ago. You feel compelled to take a closer look. Thursday the 11th. I heard her again last night after both Mom and Dad had gone to bed. I was lying in bed, nearly asleep, when I heard the sound of her weeping downstairs. I knew it would come next, and sure enough, I heard the faint shuffle of her footsteps as she made her way up the basement steps and up the stairs. Then she was in the hall outside my room. I heard the squeak of my room's door handle turn. I stayed under the blankets, my eyes shut tight. Thank God I'd locked the door. It's become a compulsive habit and drives Ma and Dad crazy. I'm going around locking every door in the house. Maybe just from my anxiety. After a time, she went away. Friday the 12th. At breakfast, I told Ma I'd heard the sounds again the previous night. The weeping, the footsteps. Mom glared at me and Dad didn't even bother looking up from his plate. Mom said, I want you to stop this, Maya. It's becoming tiresome and annoying. There's no one else in this house but the 3 of us. What about what the real estate lady told us before we moved here? She said, that's a tragic accident, but it happened in this house many years ago. It has nothing to do with us. You're obsessing and imagining things. Mom was almost in tears. I nearly burst out crying. It wasn't always like this. In our old life, before we moved here 6 months ago, they used to listen to me and take what I said seriously. Now they no longer believe anything I say. Oh, how I hate this house. But am I going crazy? Is she real? Am I the only one able to see and hear her? I remember when I first encountered the lady in the basement. It was just after we moved in. I was alone downstairs and I heard the basement door creak open. I went to check and I went down there and nearly died from terror. I ran upstairs screaming and told Mom and Dad about what I saw. They were alarmed and Dad searched the basement, then the whole house, but he found nothing. All he saw in the basement were the old packing boxes stored there. Oh, how I remember when I saw coming up the basement of the stairs out of the darkness. I remember the blast of rage and malevolence. I feared for my life. Another time, a week later, late at night, I heard the weeping downstairs. I ran to Mom and Dad's bedroom and crawled in with them, crying. Dad searched the house again. He searched the basement, and even though I got hysterical and begged him not to, he found nothing. This has happened a couple more times. Now they look at me not with concern, but with suspicion and anger. Ma thinks, thanks to my counselor, that I'm having some kind of breakdown brought about by our move across the country and teenage hormones. It's true that I hate this state, I hate my new school, and most of all, I hate this house. I wish we'd never moved here, but could they all be right? Could it be true that the trauma of change is driving me insane, making me see things? Seeded by that awful story of the real estate lady told us about what happened in this house years ago? Am I going crazy? Some nights I lie in bed, wide awake, waiting for the sounds from the basement to start, frozen in terror. Friday the 27th. Okay, so I'm not the only one who hears/sees her, which means I'm not going crazy, but it also means the situation's dangerous. Yesterday, Mom and Dad had to attend a party thrown by a friend of Dad's. I think it was one of those boring adult parties where everyone stands around sipping drinks and talking into the night. So they hired a sitter, a sweet 22-year-old girl, Nadia, who goes to the BH college nearby. I really liked her. She was so pretty. I was up here, and it was around 9 when I heard her scream. I ran downstairs and found her cowering behind the sofa, her face ashen. She was pointing towards the basement door, and I knew at once that Nadia had seen her too. I asked Nadia what happened. She said that she heard the basement door opening, then a few minutes later, sound of someone weeping. She thought it was me and went to investigate. She opened the basement door wide, and then she... Fuck! Okay, you got me, you creepy. Hey, just what do you think you're doing in here? You're reading my diary? That's so creepy. I'm gonna call my mom. I should have locked my door. I went to the bathroom, and for once I didn't lock my room. See what happens. Please leave my room. Wait, I heard the sounds too, from the basement, the weeping. Oh god, you shouldn't be in this house. The last sitter, it didn't go too well for her. You should leave the house now. Tell me about the lady in the basement or the previous sitter. Lady in the basement. I heard the sounds a week after we moved in. First, the basement door kept opening by itself, always when I was alone in the lounge. I was too scared to go near it, so I kept ignoring it. I thought it was maybe a draft, so... Once it opened when Ma was with me, and she just shrugged and said that the door was stiff, so it sprang open. She said we'd get it fixed, but then one day I heard the weeping, and I couldn't help myself. I went to the door, and I went down there, and I saw her. I saw her. I've been living in terror ever since. I hear her some nights. Sometimes she just weeps. Other times she wanders the house. Nobody believes me. Mom and Dad think I'm making it up to get them to leave here and go back to our old life. I don't know what the lady in the basement wants. I don't even know what she is, but when I saw her, I sensed rage and despair. I know she wanted to harm me, kill me if she could, but I knew at once who she was. She was the lady from the story that the real estate woman told us when we got the house. What happened to the previous sitter? Oh, you mean Nadia? She saw the lady in the basement. That's how I think of that thing down there, in caps. Nadia heard her crying. She thought it was me and went down to the basement to investigate. When I found her, she was screaming and hysterical. I could barely understand what she was saying. She just said that woman came at her. She called my mom and told her she was leaving the house and didn't want to stay a moment longer. Mom was furious and asked her why, but Nadia couldn't say why. It sounds crazy when you talk about it out loud, so I don't blame her. Also, I think Nadia didn't even want to think about what she saw, let alone talk about it. She was so shaken. Nadia was up here with me when Ma was talking to her on the phone. She just listened to Ma wordlessly and then left. When Ma came home, she was furious with me. Let me guess, she thought you scared her away? Yeah, she thought I told Nadia about the lady in the basement and spooked her. I didn't want to tell you anything about all this. I just wanted you to stay away from the basement because I knew you wouldn't believe me and because I don't want Ma to say that I scared you away. I mean, if it only happens when you're alone, I think we should both hang out up here with the door locked. What was the story the real estate lady told you about the house? Before we moved here, Dad wanted to find a place near the hospital where he's working, so he got in touch with this real estate firm, and she showed them a bunch of houses. Ma didn't like any of them. Finally, the agent told them that she had one more place on her file. She brought us here. Ma loved the place at once. It was spacious, had a nice lawn and a pool, 2 floors. What's not to love? Even better was the rent. I remember how Dad was really happy about how cheap the rent was, considering its size. The only issues with the house, Ma said, was that even though it's part of the suburban property, Whitefield Groves, it looked a little run down. That was when the real estate agent told Ma and Pa the story. She said that the last long-term residents lived here nearly a decade ago, a family of 3. The man was some kind of businessman and he used to travel a lot. His wife was a housewife and they had a 4-year-old girl. The wife had some kind of ongoing mental disorder, depression, I think, some kind of psychosis. She'd hear voices or see things. She was taking medication for it, and at one point she began to believe that her husband no longer loved her. That he was plotting to kill her. Could have been the long hours alone, or maybe she was slowly descending into madness, but at some point she broke, and in a moment of madness she killed the daughter and herself. I asked the real estate agent which room she'd done it in, and she said she didn't know. But I think I've got a pretty good idea where it happened. The house stayed vacant for a long time. Bad mojo, I guess. And there were a couple of residents in... There were a couple of residents in between, but most stayed for a short time and moved on. I guess they either saw something or felt uneasy. The house has been empty for almost 3 years before we moved in. That's pretty crazy. Yep, sure is. You wonder how any of this is possible. Could any of this be real? Do you believe me now? Hell yeah! Wow, thank you. It's great that at least someone doesn't think I'm crazy. I've been living with this for a while now. I'm losing weight. The counselor at school thinks it's because of the move and the changes in my life, but I know what it really is. It's hard for me to concentrate in class. I keep thinking about her, of the madness that drove her to kill her own daughter and take her own life, and I get scared. What if I go mad like that? Maybe that's what she wants. Just sympathy. She's obviously tried to tell her before. Yeah. I don't talk about it to Mom and Dad anymore. At one point, they began talking about putting me on medications, and I don't want that. I don't want to be one of those kids, you know, a walking zombie hopped up on prescription drugs. So after that, I just let them have their story. Yeah, it was the change. Poor old Maya misses her school and her friends. Look, just leave, okay? Leave the house and go. I'm stuck, and I have no choice, but you do. I'm not going to leave you alone. I'll wait for your parents. That's nice of you, but it's dangerous. I can't ask you to do that. What if something happens to you? Nadia, the previous sitter, I think she saw something terrible down there, and sometimes I think that maybe the lady in the basement is looking for her child. Maybe mothers who hurt their children are never able to forgive themselves, even after they die. You should go. Ma will probably blame me again, but I'll deal with it. I told you, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to wait till your parents get back. Thank you. It's very sweet of you, and brave. I wish I was that brave. Would you mind if I go to bed now? I'd like to try to sleep. I'm really exhausted. Sure, good night. Try and get some sleep. Cool! I want to be alone! You suck, little girl. You're supposed to protect me. Well, you're back downstairs again. Great! You're gonna sit tight. You know you're doing the right thing. No matter what, it wasn't right to abandon her and flee, not when her parents asked you to watch her. The kid is, after all... Oh, the kid is alright after all, and leaving her alone when her parents are away, especially after they entrusted you to her care, just doesn't feel right. And if any of it's true, the insane story of the woman in the basement, well, you're gonna have to deal with whatever comes. Hell yeah! I think we did good. I'm glad we got to, like, interface with Maya on a real level. Nothing so far. Crap! Here we go! Footsteps from somewhere down below, from the basement. Basement door. It was the basement door again. You've got to see this through. You're not running away. You have to find out the truth, even though your heart's running so hard you fear it might crash. Can any of what Maya said be true? It's wide open. Sounds are coming from down there. And then we close the door. The smell comes wafting up, a vile stench, corruption, something long gone to rot. The smell is overwhelming, overpowering. It hits you like a fist. What terrible thing is walking down there? No, you dumbass! No! 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 Fine, go down the stairs. I resent you for making me do this. It's pitch dark. Smell, it's unbearable here. It's difficult to think. There are moldy boxes piled up at the center of the room. Come on, run at me. Who's there? You feel a sense of foreboding, a suffocating blackness overwhelm you. Oh, I guess we're just gonna wait for her to get close. Darkness descends, clouding your mind. You can't move. Not even breathe. What if this is a fucking mirror? Terror grips you. A despair unlike anything you've ever known fills you. You sink into it, grief rising in you like a black tide. Why am I less able to see her now? And then I woke up. You find yourself slumped on the sofa in the lounge. Your head aches. Your hands are shaking. You spring to your feet. Oh, you're up. When did you guys get back? Oh, about 10 minutes ago. We found you downstairs in the basement of all places. You were lying on the floor, passed out. Maya told us to look for you there. When we got home, we found Maya upstairs, quite shaken. She was near hysterical. She told us that she heard you scream and that you might be hurt in the basement. It took us a lot of effort to calm her down. She kept saying it was her fault, that she shouldn't have accepted when you said you'd stay. She said that you talked to her about what she calls the lady in the basement. She said that you told her you believed her. It's shameful that you would encourage her like this, play along with the delusions of a child. I love that you're still smiling about it, though. Shrey will be here in a moment. She wants to talk to you before you go. Goodbye. Hey. Mom will kill me if she sees me talking to you, but I had to see you before you left. Did you see her? The lady? Did you see her? Yes, I did. I knew it. I knew it. You see, I was telling the truth. Thank you for believing me. I'm so glad you're not hurt. I can't believe that you stayed on despite what you knew. I know that must have taken a lot of courage. That means a lot. Maybe I can be like that and have that kind of courage too. That's the outcome I wanted. You're courageous already. Thank you. Like, she really did want to stay in the house alone and deal with it. Well, I really have to go now before Ma sees me talking to you. She'll come down hard on you. It's just the way she is. Don't feel bad. Until she sees it too, she'll never believe. I'm sorry all this happened to you. You never asked for this. Bye. Good luck, little girl. I must say that I'm sorely disappointed. We put you in charge of looking after, and the dev finds you passed out in the basement. He says you weren't drunk or on drugs, but I find that hard to believe. At least you stayed on, unlike our last sitter who left the child alone and fled. But I'm not sure I should be grateful for that, considering the situation. You encouraged my daughter's sick fantasy. You probably set her back by weeks in doing so. Your daughter isn't lying. There really is someone or something in the house. Really, so she dragged you into her hysteria and you believed all of it. This is exactly what the counselor warned us not to do. Since you work with children, I thought you'd know better. There's nothing wrong with Maya. It's the house. Goodbye. We'll be passing on our feedback to your agency. Well, that didn't go as planned. You've been shown out rather unceremoniously. Mrs. Raj was clearly furious. But what Maya said, what you saw in there, that sense of abject despair that washed over you in the dark. As you leave, you turn to look at the house. You think of all that happened. And you wonder. One week later. Yes! Nice. I would absolutely love if it continued and I got to take the job again. Damn. I wish, like, me confronting it. I know I started out saying the ending is going to still be the same, but I wish me confronting it had done something to help her. Oh well. Hopefully her life got better after being told that she wasn't crazy and that courage was a possibility for her. That's what I'm going to take away from it. But that was The Babysitter. Until the next video, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you around. Bye.